ready, or you?
I guess.
Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4. Here. Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Pastor Brent Jones from the Northgate Pentecostal Church. After the invocation, please remain standing for the pledges. Thank you for coming out today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Pastor.
Father, we thank you for this great nation, the freedoms that we hold so dear. We thank you for the men and women who have served to protect our freedoms, that we're a country of law and order. We ask you to guide everything that's done here today, that it be done for your glory, and that these men and women who serve this court uphold justice and truth. We thank you today for life and liberty. We ask you, Jesus, to protect everyone here and go with us in this day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Manius, agenda announcements.
Thank you, Honor. Members of court, as it relates to today's agenda, we have two announcements for the court. The first one concerns item 8G1, that's information technology. We're going to ask that we hold that particular item. Also, members of court, under purchasing, item 8I8, we're going to ask that that item be held also. We'll be bringing these back to court in the near future. Also like to remind the court that next week is our last full regular scheduled Commissioners Court meeting. We will have the O.D. Wyatt Choir. No, we won't? Okay. Well, next week will be our last scheduled Commissioners Court meeting, and we will be having one additional court meeting at the end of December. But that meeting will be limited to only HR-related issues and also to be able to pay bills.
What was the first change that you announced?
It was under information technology. It was item 8G1.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of November the 24th.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Fickus and Commissioner Johnson. Motion passes unanimously. We have a couple of, we have a presentation and an employee recognition. Mr. Maxwell, would you like to come up and do the honors of the trophy presentation?
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, yes, again, I get to give this to somebody other than the team that I was on, which is unfortunate, but it's the way it's been going here lately.
Sandbaggers.
With the 12th annual Tarrant County Golf Tournament was held this year at Hawks Creek. Hawks Creek did a very good job. Course was very nice. Food was good. Everything worked out very well. Weather was reasonably good. And this year's winning team would be Mr. Willie Ibarra, James Castilla, Sherry Crass, and Mr. Frank Phillips. I don't know if any of them are. Hopefully some of them are around.
There they come. There they come. Y'all come on. Y'all come on up.
Yep.
We won't give you that trophy.
Yeah. So for Willie and James and Sherry, this is their second time to get their name on the trophy. Mr. Frank Phillips, he was on the team that I was on last year. He decided to jump ship. He got on a little better team this year. I must commend him for that. He did a good job. But the cup, again, this was the Tarrant County Credit Union paid for this cup, and we award this every year. to these fine winners, and they get to hang on to it till next year. Hopefully they take very good care of it. As you see, there are no dents, no scars. Hopefully it comes back that way. It's the way it's supposed to work. No swimming or anything like that with it. But congratulations.
I want to know what the rest of the team was doing while Sherry was playing golf.
Yes, I believe well, I'll let you answer that, but I did want one more thing, that Mr. Manius and his group did win the Hogan Flight for the 4th time. They are record holders for winning the Hogan Flight.
What's that for?
It's okay.
So what's the Hogan Flight for?
It's the second tier.
So you're telling me it was at the bottom?
Second. No, second tier. It was one right below first.
So you're telling me you were second place or right below the first tier, which means that there was 10 teams and you were number 11.
Here's the official.
We need a little,
We don't have that on the agenda today.
we need a little explanation of this. Would you guys like to give it?
I'll just say that we have the trophy.
And you know what? If it wasn't for this young lady, they would not have had that trophy.
Well,
Thank you for saying I'm young. I appreciate it.
I tried to get Craig to have our nicknames put on it, which, Sherry is known as the ringer. So, there's a reason she was given that.
The team Sherry was on won that golf tournament this year, too.
Oh,
Yeah, I think she is the first time to ever win Commissioner Johnson's tournament and the county golf tournament in the same year.
Yeah.
now, I guess the question was it the same team at your golf tournament?
No, sir.
So obviously you are the common factor in this process. And Frank must have realized that last year and jumped ship. Because
Yeah, he
he's
did.
still with us.
It hurts me a little bit. I did have one more thing. There was the first hole-in-one was made this year in our tournament. Mr. John Saul, I believe he is back here in the back somewhere, is what I was told.
There he is, right over there. Stand up.
He
Congratulations.
made the first hole-in-one.
Did you hit it or did you throw it? We still hadn't heard what this Hogan Flight business was all about.
We'll pick that up later on, Judge.
So it must have been last place.
No.
Internet, sir.
We shot a 65.
What did the winning team?
60.
60.
What'd you shoot on the second 9?
If there's anyone that would like to jump in on my side.
I think you're on that island by yourself. Okay, now we come to the employee recognition, and as I call your name, please stand and remain standing until we finish that group. Looking at some of the names, if it sounds like your name, stand up. If you kind of know where you are in the alphabet and you think it should be your name, stand up. So we'll start off with our 5-year employees. Our first is Anna Leland from the District Clerk's Office. Anna. Peter, don't get started on this clapping because we could be here all day long.
How are you going to say that?
Peter Tataho. I know I didn't get that right, but is Peter here? And he's not even here. Ficus, okay, you tell me how it's pronounced.
Hang on. I wasn't laughing.
It's Ted. Ted Tahoe. Is
Ted
the,
Tao.
Ted Tata.
There you go.
well, the people who got the phonetics of it didn't do too well either.
What did they?
Tahoe. See?
Tahoe, Tahoe.
Don't be telling Peter how he pronounces his name.
Is Peter here?
No,
Well, then why are we worrying about it?
because everybody's laughing. Reuben Wallace from the 96th District Court. These are our 5-year employees. Anna, thank you for being here. Now for our 10-year employees, Ashley Barnes, the County Clerk's Office. There's Ashley. Joe Bennett, 323rd District Court. Michael Blandford, Juvenile Services. Janice Chambers, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Tiffany Eubanks, Tax Office. Malachi Gonzalez, Sheriff's Office. Rachel Harmon from Sheriff's Office. Irma Jimenez. Yeah, that's right.
Amaris.
From the District Clerk's Office. You want to take the next couple of ones there? Casey Krall from Juvenile Services. Brenda Ladd from the County Clerk's Office. Lorenzo Marcias, Sheriff's Office. Jason McGahee from Public Health. Amy Snyder, Constable's Office, Precinct 1. And Elizabeth Wall from the Tax Office. These are our tenure employees. Now for our 15-year employees, Jennifer Hicks, Juvenile Services. Maria Perez, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 6. And Keith Shepard, Sheriff's Office. I'm glad you made it. These are our 15-year employees. "20 years, Jessica Burchett. All these people know how to. Domestic relations. She's not here. Adrian Hughes, Information Technology. Rhonda Curl, Juvenile Services. And Dana Victorson, Juvenile Services. These are our 20-year employees. Now for our 25 and up. Our first one is Anita Colbert from Public Health. There's Anita. She said when she started in Public Health, it was during a measles outbreak, and she started as a traveling nurse, still in that same area, and is basically just giving immunizations right and left. About $20,000 a year. At least $20,000 a year, maybe even a little bit more than that. When I asked her about a memorable moment, she said when the Public Health got the first vehicle, she also said it was the time that she had been here that since the time she had been here that there's been basically no major outbreaks on illnesses for which there are immunizations. When I asked her what she liked most, it was the stability of the job, the openness of that job, the ability to have flexibility in what she did, and I must have forgotten somebody. I did, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. And the chance to speak with civic groups about public health. She said, I enjoy spending a lot of time with my grandkids, has been a nurse since '71. Heard that the county job, I need to read my stuff again before I come in here, that the county job, it feels like it's a job that was just made for her. When I talked to her about the last 5 years, she said over the Thanksgiving weekend, I guess she had just had all of the kids and the grandkids home in Granbury for Thanksgiving. She has 3 kids and 5 grandkids. Just finished flu vaccines, almost 1,000. She's one of the ones up here that sticks you. I think even GK may have gotten stuck this year.
Really?
You know, one of the things she says, I absolutely love this job, and you know, she's been at it for many years, and she's kind of begun looking for her replacement. And she said, I think I found somebody pretty good. But she said, I'm not quite ready to give it up yet. This year, they gave over 13,000 back-to-school vaccines during August. Wow. Public health is basically been doing this forever. She said, I'm now getting to the point to where I'm giving vaccines to the children of folks who I gave vaccines to when they were children. And she said that's a really neat deal. Anita, we thank you very, very much for the 25 years you've given us. I must have skipped over in my 20 years. I see, I don't have him on my 20 year.
Jimmy McDonald.
Yeah, I don't, just a little testimony here. Everybody look, there's only 4 on here. So Jimmy McDonald, 20 years, is he here? See, that's the reason he's not on my list. Somebody will tell me afterwards exactly why that wasn't there, but thank y'all for trying to make sure that I don't miss anybody. The next person that we're celebrating today is Raina Irwin, the District Clerk's Office of the 231st District Court, 25 years. Started in the microfilm area, then to the District Clerk's Office, was with the 324th District Court for a while, and is now in the lead clerk in the 231st, Judge Navarez. She really enjoys the National Adoption Day. That's really a favorite time for her. She just finished her 10th. She said, working in the family court area, that you oftentimes don't get to see a lot of happy stuff. And that the National Adoption Day is really something that she really enjoys. She said, I love the people that I had a chance to work with. They're my best friends. She said, I enjoy interacting with the public and with the attorneys. When her husband had worked in the county in the IT area, and the last time we talked, they had combined, they had served 46 years with the county. When I asked her kind of what's happened in the last 5 years, she said, well, my husband's retired. And she said, other than that, just, he's now not working and I'm here still working. But she says, I really enjoy everything, and Raina, we really appreciate the 25 years of service you've given us. Next is Floyd Owens, 25 years, the Sheriff's Department in the Warrants area. Floyd started out in Cold Springs, was in the Correction Center in the booking area, been in 9/11 dispatch, now is in the criminal warrants area. He said, what I enjoy the most is the training opportunities that the county has afforded me, the ability to advance, and the professionalism and the integrity that we now have in the department. There has been a big change, and the credibility and the integrity of the office and of the department, I think, has been moving upward for a long time now. Still wants a few more years. His daughter now works for the county and has been here for about 10 years. He met his wife here at the county. She worked in the county, and she's now works security over at TCC. So really, they are a county family. Floyd, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given us. Thank you. Now, another individual on our list today, since everybody's watching the list, is Chip Wilkerson with the District Attorney's Office. He's celebrating 25 years, but he is out right now and wasn't able to make it today. Next, we have, I think, Brian Bursey with Facilities Management, 30 years. Started out in the Convention Center, then moved to the Correction Center when it opened, and has been there ever since. He kind of joked, he says, yeah, I'm doing life in the jail. He said, I love the people I've had a chance to work with, the stability and the benefits that the county's offered. When I asked him kind of what had occurred over the last 5 years, he said, never thought I'd be here after 30 years. He said, it's a very fair place to work. Has 3 grandkids, 6, 8, and 10. They're all girls, so probably coming to the jail and working is maybe sometimes a little bit of a respite. He said, what I have really enjoyed is being a part of new ideas and the design part of the Lon Evans. He said, you know, having worked in the correction center for many years, when we came to build Lon Evans, we knew some of the things that had not gone well in the correction center. And I think, you know, we had the perfect team set up at that point. Chief Knowles, who certainly knew jail management. And he said just one of the things is just the accessibility of each one of the cells by, you know, we have that little corridor behind the cells between the exterior wall and that. He said just that little access. He said that's just one example that I can think of that has really made a difference in the Lon Evans facility. And again, you know, I think that's an example that is set really all over the state. You know, that's something that people come and look at and see because of the example of the way that's built. Brian, we appreciate very much your 30 years of service with Tarrant County. Tracy Pelley, Facilities Management, 30 years.
Tracy?
Which, you know,
She started, she was what, 12?
I think so. She said she started in the public works after college. The economy wasn't doing real well. She said she had an uncle who knew some folks at the county, and they said it was a good place to work. So she came down and interviewed with Jim Stewart and started as an intern. She said, I'm not sure I can even remember how long I was an intern. But she said one thing led to another. She said when Gary Kirby came on board, they created facilities, and she landed in that department. And in fact, she said the first week that Gary started was when she had her daughter. She's now the assistant director over the construction services area. From that standpoint, her daughter is now, she's graduated from Tech and is now in graduate school in some foreign country called Arkansas. She said over the last 5 years, she said, I've had a chance to work with the, with the Civil Courts building, with Northwest. I was going to say the Taj Mahal, but when I said that to her, she said, no, that's the Northeast.
Thank you, Tracy.
With North,
Thank you, Tracy.
she really didn't say that. I just kind of thought I'd add that. She's currently working on, I think, some plans for Precinct 1. I think she's, I'm sure you got something coming down the pike, and she'll be working on it. And then she said, looking forward to the juvenile project next year. So Tracy has been involved in a lot of our construction. I know that from Precinct 3, she really did from conception to completion on our precinct maintenance garage. Actually did all the drawings and did everything in that particular regard. And so that's one of the things she said I really have enjoyed, is having that ability to do those kind of projects. And Tracy, we appreciate very much the 30 years of service you've done. Next is Jerry Roberson, Chief Deputy Constable, Precinct 2. He is on vacation and was not going to be able to attend, but I thought as you see him, please congratulate him for his 30 years of service. And finally is Robin Worthy, 30 years of service in the Human Resource area. When she started, she said, I was kind of a generalist, and she said, I did a little bit of everything, and then from there, she became the compensation coordinator, and then in 2007 became the assistant director for our HR. Memorable moments, she said, certainly the passing of Gerald was a moment that she would never forget. The SAP project. And then also, that's another project that she would never forget. And then also the shooting in the JP office. She said really the thing that she likes most about the county is the sense of community and family. She said it's a great place to work, has great benefits. She said when I started, they didn't have computers or PCs. So it was all by paper, and so it's come a long way. When I asked her kind of what had occurred over the last 5 years, she said she had thought about that really there'd been no drama, and that was a good thing. She said the other thing that I guess she had come to realize is she knows now that she does not know it all, that she does not know all the answers, but knows who to call for the answers. She said, I love the sense, again repeating, she said, I still love the sense of community that the county has. Robin, thank you very much for your 30 years of service. Well, let's see who else I forgot.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I didn't. 510 years of service. Thank you barely is able to tell you how much we appreciate what you do for this department, for your departments, for the county, for the citizens of this county on a day-to-day basis. We appreciate your professionalism. We appreciate the respect that you give not only to your coworkers, but also to the people who you have contact with. And again, just thank you, thank you, thank you. Refreshments in 504C. I saw Wilder leave already, so you better get back there quick. Thank y'all.
Correct. Okay. I'm just gonna wait and get back to them. No, but I'm gonna give it time.
All right.
You guys have close to that.
Yeah. Move approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve the consent agenda. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Looks like Phillips beat Wilder in the cookies this morning.
Well, he had
Your Honor,
an
Ms.
employee back
McMillan is
there.
going to present our first item.
That's official.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. We have before you a request to approve the issuance of Series 2015 hospital revenue bonds in one or more series by the Tarrant County Cultural Education Facilities Finance Corporation for Baylor Scott & White Holdings in an amount not to exceed $180 million. This is a continuation of the efforts to refund and consolidate the bonds of the previously separate Scott and White and Baylor Healthcare System entities into the new joint holding company, Baylor Scott and White Holdings. The proceeds of these bonds will refund Series 2008, 2011, and 2011 D and E, bonds that were issued by TCC, EFFC previously.
Move approval.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Members of the court, we can go to item number 2. We're requesting that the court approve an interlocal agreement between Tarrant County and Westworth Village for street striping services.
Move approval. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. The motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, we could go to item number 3. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve a local initiative project. This is a proposal for the continuation of the Emissions Enforcement Task Force in the Sheriff's Department, and it will be submitted to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
Move approval.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. The motion passes unanimously.
Finally, members of the court, on item number 4, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve interim financing for the anticipated FY16 Ryan White Part C grant. This would be for a period not to exceed 60 days. Estimated cost is about $148,000.
Move approval. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Information. You might want to get some sort of fluorescent vest so that, I know y'all had some problems with the garage.
Had a car hit a pole down the street.
Okay. It was dark, and I want to applaud your employees because they were there to help everybody as they could.
Okay.
Even volunteering to help bring cars down. But in the dark, when a man is running towards two females without any kind of identification, they could get shot.
Okay. We'll get some vests.
I mean,
Yeah.
I really want to applaud you for the way you handled it, but we happened to be working late, and a couple of our folks were heading to the garage, and they were going, and somebody was running toward them, and it could have been a bad situation.
Judge, we'll take care of that.
The other thing is, if the gates are going to lock, we need to figure out a way to lock them in the up position as opposed to in the down position if that's possible, or some way to get them up so that we don't end up having to bust the gate. We didn't, but it was
Good. They're powered up, powered down, so that may be a little difficult when the power goes. Our 3 garages are the only buildings we have downtown that are not on the underground grid. They're on overhead power, and very seldom does it happen. It happened last night for several hours, and we'll take a look at that, but that could be a challenge to make them fail safe up. That's a problem.
When the power goes out, is there
We're here.
a way you can lock them up at that point? Can you open
Yes.
them, get them up?
Yes, sir.
Good, because all that was off the microphone, so now we don't have to worry about it. We can get right
Yes.
back to the agenda.
Yes. Yes, sir. We'll look at that, but we set those up, and we have problems with the gates from time to time. We have to go physically move those up. I don't think that when the power's out, especially, we have to do that. They don't fail safe up for various reasons.
But I guess once the power is out, can we move them up and lock them in the up condition?
We do, and we did last night and people were getting out last night. As I viewed it, I got out a little later, so we've got several gates in that facility, and we have a process to going out and open those gates up, and the secured parking on the first floor as well.
Well, the first floor is where we ended up spending about 20 minutes waiting for someone to be able to get the key there to get the gate up.
Okay.
But again, I mean, I just say that because I think y'all did a fantastic job in the way you handled it. I think your employees did a fantastic job in the way they handled that.
Thank you.
But I think there's some areas that and especially getting some sort of a very recognizable vest or something that would make them think that this isn't, because in the dark, it's very difficult to determine who might be
It was
coming
dark,
toward you.
very dark. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is requested that Commissioners Court approve county staff to conduct negotiations with the following firms related to the construction management risk services for the upcoming expansion of the Dion Phillips Bagsby Southwest Subcourthouse. The firms in order of the highest ranking being first are Conrail Construction Company, Steel and Freeman Construction Company, and Thomas S. Byrne Construction Services.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Glint and Ms. Worthy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Receive file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Good morning. Our second item is to discuss the approval of participation in the Easy Ride Employer Bus Pass program. Last week, we briefed you on the changes to this program, and we are back today to discuss it further if need be and to receive guidance from you how you want us to participate. As we mentioned before, we have participated in this plan since 2001. There are 3 different types of bus passes, and the county has subsidized those for the term that we have participated. The T has increased those bus passes, and we've offered you 3 options. Option 1 would be to continue to subsidize the program at a 60-40 rate, meaning that the county would pay the 60% and the employee would pay the 40%. We have option 2, which is a 50-50 split. And then option 3 would be to continue with the program and not to subsidize it. And of course, we could always not participate in the program at all if that was your choice. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So to continue the program allows for a discount from what the employee would pay individually if they went down.
If they bought directly from the T, that is correct.
And then the other 2 would maintain, but it would significantly increase our dollar value of participation as well as it's going to significantly increase the employee's cost also.
And make sure I understood your question.
Good, that'll help both of us.
I'm not sure. I thought I understood the first part of it. So if we continue to participate with subsidy, we've offered you 2 different types of subsidy. But if we do not participate in the program, they can buy bus passes directly from the T. They will be slightly more than this even $1,200 amount on an annual basis for the regional pass, or the $600 for the Zone 1, or the $450 for the local.
Okay.
What would be the price tag estimated
For
option 2?
For option 2. Well, the challenge with that is we do not know how many people will continue to participate.
Estimated.
And so what we have done is we did a comparison on Exhibit B based on exact equal purchases, and if we were to purchase the same amount in 2016 as we did in 2015, and the total cost of that initially to the county would be $101,400, with after the employees portion that would be $60,000 on the 60-40 split, or $50,000 on the 50-50 split approximately. Currently, or in 2015, the county spent approximately $6,500 on the program.
So the price differential between those is $50,000.
Yes, sir.
If everybody does, I mean, at the same token, I mean, that's what we don't know. I mean, I wish, we can't, I don't know that we can do $50,000.
There's just no way to know how many will participate. Certainly, I think there will be some that will continue to participate that can afford that, and I think then there'll be some that.
So let me ask a question this way. We budgeted what, 10,000?
That's correct.
When we do our educational stuff, we budget a certain amount, and then we spread that out among the people who actually submit? Is that the way we do that, or how do we do our education stuff?
I believe that's correct. It's by semester, so we have 4 semesters a year. I'm looking at Tina because she's more familiar with this program than I am. Do you want to talk about it, or do you want to turn on your mic?
Good morning. We budget, I believe, around $200,000 for tuition reimbursement, and then as employees successfully complete their classes, they submit their grades, and then we reimburse according to the schedule that the court approved. And if you recall, it's a graduated schedule. So if you receive an A, it's 100% of your tuition. If you receive a B, it's 80%, a C, 70%. And what was the other question, Judge?
Think about it being prorated if you exceed the budget.
So what happens if the requests exceed the budget?
That's only happened maybe once or twice, not in recent years. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we actually exceeded the budget. So we were not aware, of course, and actually it's split into 2 sessions. We do a fall and then a spring reimbursement. And of course, depending upon the program that the employees are in, some come out at various points in the fall and the spring. But we actually sort of split it in half. What we've done, the 1 or 2 times that we exceeded budget was in the spring session. Then those reimbursements were prorated based upon the balance that we had left in our account.
Do we have any idea at this point in time, Debbie, how much we have left over from, I guess the last time we would have done would have been the spring. We won't do the fall. When will we begin reimbursing for this?
Actually, I signed off on a couple of them this morning. Again, depending upon the program, employees come out of their program, start and come out at various times.
Do we know of the split, how much we used in the spring, and how much we may have had left over, if we had leftover amounts?
I don't know the answer to that question. I know we did not exceed the budget again this past year or last year and the year before.
Where I'm going with this would be possibly saying that we will take the money that might have been left over from the education dollars, put with that the $10,000 that we've got budgeted and say that's it. And we'll have people that we'll give them till January or whenever to submit, and we'll prorate that out, but we won't spend more money than we've got budgeted currently.
Okay, so
I think under the circumstances, we need to opt out of this program.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we can do that, but we had budgeted, and I think my thought was, as long as we're not going to exceed the amount of money that we said we were going to set aside for this.
But you're proposing that we do just that.
No, I'm not.
I thought you were talking about the money that's left over from the other program to be added.
I'm saying kind of adding the money together.
Yeah.
We're still not going to go more than what we budgeted, though.
What we budgeted is $10,000.
Yes. I don't even mind if we just limit it to that. What I was saying is that we also, when you're looking at what we're reimbursing the employees for, we're doing it in 2 forms. We're doing it in an education for them going to school, and we're doing it then for this transportation. And so I'm just saying is we'll combine the 2 amounts for this, at least this one time, because we didn't have a way of anticipating that this was going to happen when we originally budgeted the $10,000. So I'm saying for this year only, we would take whatever budget dollars that we didn't spend in education and maybe add that to the 10, or just to say we'll go with the 10 and just leave it at the 10 and make that available and no more.
I'd like to make an alternative suggestion, and I already have the sense that it's not going to go anywhere, but I'm going to make it anyway. We allocated $30,000 for the Fair Aid program to provide transportation for the homeless and for people who are, well, basically for the homeless. I think we should do no less for our county employees. So I would propose that we allocate $30,000. to this program.
I'm going to second it just to get some discussion done. Debbie, do you have an indication of how much money, if any, we underspent our budget for the education for the year that we just ended?
I've looked back. Look back over the last several years, and it's been anywhere from a little over 50,000 to about 60 to 70,000.
That we've underspent the 200,000?
But that's just one of those things that's hard to predict in the beginning.
What was the amount we budgeted prior to this change?
10,000.
10,000.
So what you're saying, what your proposal was is just say 30,000, not any, I mean, just blanket that amount as versus the 10.
Right.
That would be adding 20 to it, and you're saying that we've had anywhere from 50 to 70,000 the last couple of years that, on that.
Well, first of all, this cost is unbearable. You can't sustain it in the future, okay? Second of all, from my own personal perspective, that is an inequity issue because employees do not have to qualify to be able to take advantage of the benefit of this program. If the employees were disabled, have income issues, that I can see the county provide a subsidy to support the employees. But these employees, anybody can enroll into this program and take advantage of this transportation subsidy. While we have 99% of our other employees drive their way to work on a daily basis and pay for their own gas, their own vehicle maintenance, and so forth. So from my own perspective, it's really defeat the purpose of providing benefit to our employees while we don't really look at it from an equality standpoint. You know, it has to be beneficial to all. So, you know, if that's, to me, that's a fundamental issue with that. So I just want to make that point clear.
And I guess I was just trying to lump that in with the other benefit that we do with regards to tuition. How do you distinguish the tuition as being different from this?
Well, the tuition, it has, number one, it basically helps improve the knowledge, the experience, and the skill set of all employees. It also is based on a set of performance. If they get A's, B's, C's, they get different level of reimbursement for their cost. In this transportation program, there is no merit at all. I mean, it's just really, it's a way that we promote transit, okay? It's the way that we promote transit, trying to get county employees to basically take advantage of transit services to basically ease congestion on our highways. But, you know, you look at the number of enrollees, 100 cars, it's not going to make a big dent. At the same time, the program has, to me, has a fundamental inequity issue with the way we provide benefit to our employees. But it's just my personal opinion.
It's a fundamental inequity issue in that not all cities provide public transit for their residents. If
That's
you
the
want to,
decision the citizens make, the citizens that live in that particular city make.
yeah, you're right about that. But
That's a lot of money, though, for 50 or 60 people.
How many did we have?
I think we had 123 this past year.
Have we heard anything from any of the folks?
I've talked to a few people, and some said they were on the fence whether they would continue to participate. Some said they would, and some said they wouldn't. So, but I haven't talked to a significant number of people. Mostly people I just knew that I chatted with about it.
So the 100 and whatever number you gave us is the regional tier 1 and the local?
Yes, sir.
All added together, and we don't know how many of those are going to participate. That's still a lot of money to pump into this for, out of 4,000 employees.
42.
We're doing this for a handful of employees is just, in my opinion, not the direction we need to be going.
I don't want to discourage people from using public transit, because I think that, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, it's going to be a much more important form of transportation than it might be today. And, 100 people is 100 people, and it's kind of like, how do you eat an elephant? You do it one bite at a time. And that's kind of how you build a transit system, unfortunately, is one rider at a time.
Well, the transit system is not participating. That's my problem. I mean, they're not participating in it at all, and they're still going to be running these same routes. I just disagree with the program.
I would prefer to see it characterized as a clean air issue rather than a public transit issue. We are a non-attainment area.
Okay, so the motion that we have before us is to allocate $30,000 to this from that standpoint. Please vote. Motion fails 3-2.
So
that doesn't really resolve the issue.
It doesn't resolve the issue. Does that mean that we're not going to participate in the program, or what does that mean?
I think it means that we're not participating in the program.
Okay.
Well,
That's the way I...
For the court to put that on record.
Well, I'll make a motion that we opt out of the program.
Second.
Please vote. Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Excuse me, but are you voting on this motion?
What was the motion?
That we opt out of the program. 4-1.
you.
Wait a minute, who made that motion?
I did, sir.
Are we opting out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Carry on.
Benny, come on down.
Good morning, Your Honor, members of the court.
Good morning, Benny.
We have one item before you requesting approval of interim financing extension for fiscal year 2016 for the Texas Department of State Health Services Women, Infant, and Children's Grant Contract Renewal, and also a research subaward agreement renewal with the University of North Texas Health Science Center for the Public Health Department's Tuberculosis Prevention and Control Division program.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Beecham.
Had another winner, didn't you?
I'd like to congratulate Lisa and Debbie and Texas A&M for extending your coach's career for one more year. He's been a very valuable asset to our program. Thank you. We have two items.
A&M has yet to have any success against LSU.
How long does it take you to think of this stuff? Do you start on
Not very long.
When I was at A&M, we beat LSU.
Well, as I was reminded, at one point in time, LSU bought themselves out of the contract to play in A&M because you did.
We used to beat them all the time back in the 70s and 80s.
Such is not the case in the 2000s.
We have two items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2016-007, signing a contract for the purchase of service awards for our Human Resources Department. Recommendation be to award on a per enterprise basis, according to the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors as shown in your court communique.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second and last item is also a bid award recommendation for bid 2016-023. This is a bid for the purchase of custom storage credences for our Tom Vandergriff Civil Courts building. Recommendation would be toward the low bidder meeting all specifications. Kissabeth Furniture, amount of $32,070.78.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are these storages for each court, or what's the? I heard a yes come back there from the,
Are we giving a number for Dennis's?
Phillips is coming forward. Somebody else said yes, and Tracy's shaking her head.
She's nodding.
Yes, it's additional storage for the court reporter in each courtroom.
So for the court reporters?
Yeah.
Okay. I could make a couple of other snide comments, but at this point in time, I'll just ask for the vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Sheriff's Department.
Board members, as Mr. Rutger comes forward, this is an item you'll see on your court communication, which is labeled consent, and we forgot to tag it on consent as it relates to the agenda. So, Mr. Rutgers, I apologize for that.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor, Commissioners. It is requested that the Commissioners Court approve the county verification of continuing production record, the statewide automated victim notification services FY invoice from the Texas Office of the Attorney General, and the Texas maintenance fee invoice from vendor. This is for the VINE program.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Skinner.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have one item for you today. We are requesting the court's consideration of a scope change related to the funding of State Highway 26, that corridor. As you recall, in the 2006 Transportation Bond Program, that did include a project for State Highway 26 from State Highway 114 to Brumlow. We'll call that Phase 1. In 2011, the Commissioners Court approved the reallocation of the county's bond funds from Phase 1 to Phase 2 of State Highway 26. This is from Brumlow to John McCain. The reason for that is because we had received Recovery Act funds at that time, and our county's bond funds were not needed on that phase. At that time, the City of Grapevine requested that the county retain $300,000 of bond funds on Phase 1 to cover any change orders that may occur. That did not happen, and Phase 1 is now complete. However, at this time, the City of Grapevine is realizing some change orders on Phase 2 of State Highway 26. And so the city is requesting that those funds that were on Phase 1 be applied to Phase 2 to be able to share in the cost of those change orders. That project is nearing completion, but this would just simply be able to provide those funds for the city for that purpose. I'd be happy to take any questions that you have on this.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
I move approval of item 8M1, A and D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Court members, you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have one item to bring to you this morning. This is the County's Information Technology Department's strategic plan for 2016-2020. Mr. Aberforth is here to address the court at this time.
Your Honor, members of the court, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As Mr. Manius introduced, I'm here this morning to take a few minutes to share with you a few touch points here relative to the county's next 5-year technology plan. But before I do that, I just want to step back quickly to state that in 2013, Tarrant County adopted what was designated as the Governing for Resorts governing policy. And in 2014, July, to be more specific, In alignment with the Governing for Results policy, the county adopted its strategic goals. That set the stage for us to get into the item today. One of the initiative items out of the strategic goals for the county in 2014 was for the Information Technology Department to develop the next technology plan, or they called it at that time updated. And we had things gone to work. We rolled up our sleeves, and with the collaboration and the partnership of Tarrant County business departments, we are here today. We have this document that you have in your packets. And so the goal today is not to work you through every minutiae, because I have visited at each of your offices and actually worked you through the draft document during its development stages. There was a number of feedback that was provided. We also, about a month ago, presented the final of this document to the Information Technology Steering Committee, which is chaired by Commissioner Brooks. And that committee endorsed the plan as well, and also, along with that, recommended that we presented that to the full court. So we appreciate the opportunity this morning to walk you through. So as I stated in the opening, when an organization has its strategic goals already created, the technology plan is much easier to develop at that point. And the reason why that is the case is because we see technology, at least us in Tarrant County, in Information Technology Department, we see technology as a business enablement. So our job here, we are an internal services organization serving Tarrant County departments who in turn serve the citizens. And we hope that in having a roadmap to success, a bridge into the future, which is essentially what a strategic plan is, we hope that that can allow us to be able to serve the Tarrant County departments at the speed of technology, so that you in turn can serve and meet the expectations of our Tarrant County citizens and residents at the speed of business. And so, as I mentioned, the plan is, I'm not going to walk you through the entire document. By the way, it's just reduced in size because we created something we feel we can execute. But I'm walking you through the structure of the document this morning, essentially. And in alignment with the Governing for Resort strategic goals, we have created a document that also has, for each of those goals, an information technology goal, and you'll see that on the next slide. But essentially, at the top level, we have the ITD strategic goals, some objectives that support each of those goals. And then there are initiative areas, which are really focal areas where we execute and where we measure and report. And each of those focal areas is actually then decomposed into programs and activities, which we essentially call improvement projects. And the improvement projects, this year what we have created is we have rolled all of those improvement projects into what we call an operational appendix. And that operational appendix is really kind of the ABC steps on how we will execute the plan. And the improvement projects, some of them are Information Technology Department originated for the general interest, and then some of them are originated by the business departments. There's a process in place each year which is known as the strategic projects improvement process or approval process, which through which funding is allocated for the business department originated items for the improvement projects. And what you have here is for each of the Tarrant County goals, a technology goal that is aligned with that as a business enabler. For example, the first, again, county goal there is the Tarrant County's financial strength. And we are saying that the alignment of a technology goal for that is that we from IT department will ensure that as we go forward, as with this bridge to the future, we will ensure that, that we do financially sound technology investments. And then you move down the stack there, and as you find, you see that it's, for each of the governing for results strategic goals, we also have a business technology enabling goal from the technology department. The next few slides that I have, like I said, what I have done is to take each of the information technology department goals and then to show you what objectives are built in it, and also the initiative or the focal areas that we will be executing against. And I have taken only goal number 1. The rest of it is in your packet, and so I didn't want us to spend your evening here going through it. But when we go through this one goal here, it will essentially, by extension, tell you the structure of this document. So objective number 1, again, the first goal is to simplify and reduce IT infrastructure footprint. How is that related to finance? Oh, absolutely. When we simplify the technology environment, and you will see how all of those objectives align, whether it is reducing the business application footprint. Today we have something like 240 applications in this environment. Our goal is to shrink that footprint, and by so doing, be able to be more frugal, be more fiscally prudent in how we are investing in the applications. And then we want to implement a right sourcing strategy. It is very important that as an organization, as I mentioned something about our ability as a department to meet the needs of Tarrant County business departments at the speed of business. That's at the speed of your expectations. In order for us to do that, we will have to get out of the mindset that IT can do everything internally. We will very targetedly partner with industry partners, academia, with other organizations in those areas that are not our core competencies to make sure that we spend wisely and get those that are best at doing things to do those while we monitor and report and be accountable to you for the outcomes. So those would be the objectives. And then what I've done here is we've taken objective number 1, showed you some of the focal areas. So how are we really going to execute against simplifying and reducing infrastructure footprint? The example is reducing the complexity of the infrastructure, reducing the financial investments. One area that we are determined as we go forward is we have said we will not invest new money into old technology. So one of the things over the years that I have learned in this job is that we in government, we don't have a ton of money to go out there and throw into transformation. However, when we are challenged by business problems that need technology solution, that time we can explain to taxpayers why we are spending money. If we go out there and tell taxpayers we're spending money in transformation, nobody's going to understand what we're talking about. However, when we have money to invest, to refresh technology, we are going to look at opportunities to leapfrog where we are falling behind. We will look for areas where we are targeted in our application of technology. We will look for areas where we can not only keep the lights on, but grow and also expand and transform the way that we do business. That's exactly what we mean by that. But we also know everything is predicated on money. There's not an infinite amount of money that's available, so we are aware that with the passage of time, money is not going to be available. We will reprioritize. And we work, again, collaboratively with the governance process that is in place, the IT steering committee, to execute on these. So it's the same pattern here with objective number 2, consolidating departmental solutions, reducing investments in legacy solutions, and rationalizing our application portfolio. We look at the objective number 3. We mentioned earlier that we are looking to partner with some of the organizations within our community, the academia. There's a lot of things that they do that sometimes they are finding, seeding grounds. And we're saying that in those areas where it's appropriate, we will partner with them. We've also created within IT, again, a way to look at how we execute projects. If it's our core competency, we'll do it. If it's not our core competency, we'll look for a business partner that is best at providing such a solution. Now, the next couple of slides, we're almost right at the end here. What I want to explain here is that, yes, there is, we have to be able to measure, because I talked about reporting. We have to be able to measure. So how do we measure what we do? Traditionally, the way that most plans are measured is against productivity. But we are going to go beyond just productivity in introducing efficiency and satisfaction as the trio components that we believe truly measure performance. What do I mean by that? Here's a specific example. If our business goal is to transition some of the repeatable processes, to our operations command center that has your service desk, it has the customer care center and all of those places. Let's take one of the things that most people here have done is they call the service desk for their problem to be solved. IT measures how we are performing against that by looking at how often do we have to, at that first phone call, resolve your problem. Sometimes we have to escalate the problem to second tiers of support. And a good performing organization should be able to resolve a lot of those. Today, when we look at the tickets that we create and the tracking we do, we are 90% today, when you call the service desk, before you drop off the phone, your problem is solved. I know it might not actually translate like that, the way it feels, but those are facts and statistics that we get from the service desk.
It ought to feel like that. If I drop the phone and I think it's not solved and you think it is, somebody's got a problem.
Yes, Your Honor, that is very true. And that takes us right to the issue of efficiency. We measure efficiency by looking at, if we're saying that 90% of the time we're solving the problem, but we turn around, we take a look at the reopening of those same tickets, and we realize that 51% of the time we're reopening the same tickets, that's an efficiency issue. Yes, the productivity is that our first cut at measuring is 91%, but we're reopening 51%, then you will find that there's an issue with customer satisfaction. That is how those three dimensions we will measure in order to report a performance that truly reflects how we are doing and how we are getting true value from technology investments. And at the end of the day, with any plan, what is its relevance for the organization? We have to be able to answer the question, what is it doing for improving our internal processes within IT and across Tarrant County departments and the agencies and the elected organizations? What is it doing for Tarrant County staff? Are we equipping the staff, to be more productive, to be able to leverage technology, to do things much easier, faster, quicker, time to market? What is it doing to our residents and taxpayers? Are we providing them tools to be able to access information or to know how their government is performing, open government, for example? And what is it doing, again, for the local businesses? One of the goals, you remember, is the mobility of people and goods and services. And we're saying that we can provide information anytime, anywhere that will truly serve the citizens. And at this point, this is the last slide. What I'd like to mention is that we did not pay consultants this time around to do this, to create this plan. We felt like we should develop this internally so that there's true ownership and there's true understanding on what we intend to do. We also partnered again with, like I said, members of the IT Steering Committee who gave a lot of feedback that was built back into this. I do want to recognize that. We did partner with some members of the County Administration Office, Jim Duff and Mark Flav, who helped us with editorial. And most important, we did partner with the County Initiatives Manager, Ms. Candice Buter. And last but not least, I do want to recognize my team, and especially my deputy, Pat Syme, and Jan Aldred, who coordinated this effort. And the product you have before you today, we believe, is going to help advance Tarrant County. And can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions?
Well, I just want to make a comment that the significance of a strategic plan like this is Chris and his team has made their effort become very tangible. From initiative, you can drive to objective, and there'll actually be metrics that we as a body can hold IT accountable now. If Chris is saying that he's going to be able to reduce financial investment in legacy IT infrastructure, and what he's saying is it would be to produce metrics that we can hold him accountable. This is a pretty bold step forward, and I appreciate your effort.
Thank you.
Does that mean that the budget in IT is going down?
About,
I'm asking.
Right. About 4 years ago, I remember you asked me, Andy, what's one of the problems that you have, you cannot understand, or you could not understand, was we keep expanding the footprint, hiring more employees in IT, okay? But on the other hand, you thought that the technology was supposed to reduce the number of employees. Do you remember?
No, I don't think I've ever thought technology was going to reduce the number. It's never yet reduced the number of employees that we have, so I'm not sure I ever believed that it would.
Yeah, but
I don't believe that the answer to your question is we don't know. But this strategic plan tracks in every instance the county strategic plan. And it gives a measurable component to what IT does. We will be able to demonstrate, perhaps for the first time, why we are doing what we're doing, what it costs, what it benefits us in terms of efficiency, internal operations, and customer satisfaction. We'll be able to justify and measure everything that IT does. It may, over the long run, result in reducing IT's budget. It depends upon how fast and how far the technologies on which we depend expand. But we will at least have a justification for doing what we do, and we will know, we will be able to measure the results of what we do. And we'll know whether we want to chase that expanding technology grid or whether we are good with what we've got.
What it means is we shouldn't be putting money in yesterday's technology. Okay, we should be putting money into the latest technology that can take us to the next decade, not keep putting money to keep the same old technology running. We have a lot of that here.
And the thing that I keep hearing as we talk about all the new programs is the old mainframe. When are we going to be off of the old mainframe?
There's a goal for that.
Are we still putting money into the old mainframe? And so that's one question. And then the other question, which we've discussed at length, is where are we on having a backup? That if something were to go down, how long would it take us to be functional again? And that's something that keeps me awake at night with some of the stuff that we have is that if something happened, how long is it going to take us to get back up and running?
I think we have good news for you.
Yes. We've got a plan for redundancy that is in the negotiation stage. And the mainframe should go away when? 2 years?
Your Honor, Commissioner, I wish I could say that 2 years, but I was warned here that many CIOs have pronounced the death or spared the death of the mainframe, but outlived them. What I can promise and you can keep my word on that, is that we have an ambitious, aggressive work plan that will ultimately extricate us of the mainframe. I'm not going to say that's going to be 10 years, but it'll be some time before 10 years. I would...
We just went from 2 to 10.
I would not want to I wouldn't want to say it's 1 year. The only reason is there's a lot of variables that are involved and dependencies. We just went live with a TechShare prosecutor on Monday. We are in the stabilization phase right now. By God's grace, we're successful. One core dependency will be off the mainframe. We still have jail. We have to be able to get that. We have a project right now that is ongoing. We're collaborating with the sheriff's office. It's another core dependency. That's ongoing right now. We don't have any problems with that engagement. Then we have TechShare Court. Court is also on the mainframe. That's a core business function in Tarrant County. We are successful with that project, then we are left only with the ancillary dependencies, DRO and a few other things that the mainframe have been around since 1964. I'm told that was before I was born. There are things in there that we don't know. And so we have another track that is assessing what those dependencies are. And once I have daylight around those things, then I would be able to tell you it's going to take 3 years or 4 years or 2 years, quite frankly.
So my concern is that we're talking about the mainframe and the old technology of 64. And so if something were to happen to that, how are we going to be up and how long and how are we going to be up and running if it's going to take us 10 years to get rid of something that is older than you? What are we going to do?
The particular mainframe unit that we're using is not. Hadn't been around since 64.
We've been upgrading. I'm just saying how long our footprint has been in that particular technology ecosystem. So what are we doing? Your question, though, is, how would we come back, to how do we ensure continuity of business? As Commissioner Brooks mentioned, a couple of initiatives came before the court, came before the IT Steering Committee recently, and we did obtain permission from the court to do some negotiation. We also have part of that whole package is also how do we back up and ensure that we can bring back the mainframe, its databases, and its applications and everything to ensure continuity of business. We are working very actively on that, and here, not very distant future, we will be coming before you to get further direction on how to execute on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions or? Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
We have a public information or an audience participation. Ms. Laura Jenkins, 8101 Canyon Oak Drive, North Richland Hills. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Laura Jenkins, 8101 Canyon Oak Drive, North Richland Hills. I'm back again to share some more information about my son. He's been in jail for 10 years, for a 12-and-a-half-year intoxication manslaughter sentence in the death of Grapevine police officer Darren Metland. We don't think our son, in fact, we believe really deeply that our son was not intoxicated, that it was a result of an epilepsy seizure. But without diminishing our condolences to the Metland family in any way, we want to continue to march for justice. And you can read all about our son at justiceforroyjr.com. Over the past couple of months, I've been going back through my files and looking at the responses that I received from the FBI, Department of Justice, and Civil Rights Commissions. And it finally occurred to me that the reason why none of those agencies responded to our request for justice was Dallas FBI, because in their responses to me, they say, Dallas FBI says, Dallas FBI says. So my focus and our focus going forward would be on Dallas FBI. And the reason we go to them is because the FBI has the authority to conduct an investigation in the absence of an indication that a law has been violated within their investigative jurisdiction. Based on what we provided, here's what they said to us, based on the information we provided to them, which was the fact that Officer Deanna Ramsar turned off her tape, that the blood draw was redirected by Richard Alpert to the Tarrant County ME office, which was not an illegal act in itself, but what they did with it we believe was an illegal act. But anyway, they said to us, based on the information provided to the FBI, it cannot be determined if such a violation exists, even though we told them about the videotape, which was an obvious violation. But here, and then they say the FBI cannot be of assistance to your son. And here's just a reminder, on their website, they take the responsibility seriously for being the lead agency for investigating violations of federal civil rights. You can read all about my son's case at justiceforroyjr.com. I'll be back next week to share our goals for 2016, to tell you what some of the things we're looking at and how we want to approach the FBI once again for our final contact with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Anything else?
That's all we have at this time, Your Honor.
We will recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items exempted. Having returned from our closed session and there being no business to conduct at this time, we are adjourned.